Hello guys, it's Obelicious here. Welcome back to my channel. Like I promised, I'm going to be giving you tips and tricks on how to get your children into school as soon as possible. It's that time of the year where you have a lot of people coming into the UK. So if you have kids that you want to enroll into school, you might find this video useful, and then you might want to grab a cup of coffee, relax and enjoy this video. So schools in the UK are literally free for kids from 5 and above. You have some private schools, but majority of their schools, public schools, are free. All the public schools are free actually, apart from the private schools. And the public schools are okay. They're well funded. They're well equipped. So it's not like public schools like back home. Public schools here are up to standard and they are well equipped. So when you have kids that are up to age, then you should take these tips quickly and put them in school. Now, schools here use some criteria to put children in school. Number one is age. From primary one, what they call year one, your child has to be at least 5 years by August 31st. If your child is going to clock 5 years by the 1st of September, then I'm sorry, your child is not qualified to be in year one. I know, it's really heartbreaking and frustrating. I also fell into that category because my daughter turned 10 in September, and before we came here, she was already done with year five. But because she turned 10 in September and 10 years only qualifies you to be in year five, and we told them that, she just turned 10 in September, and they said if it was 31st of August, it should have been in year six. But because it was September that she doesn't qualify, so we had to put her in year five and she had to repeat. So that's something you need to consider, and it's fine. It's fine. I think they go for mental maturity. I don't know how they do it, but they have their reasons. Now, irrespective of what age your child is, if you like, let your child be in primary two and be 10 years old. By the time they come here, if 10 years is supposed to be in year five, they'll move them from primary two to primary five. That's how they do it. That's just their way. Now, if your child is below 5 years, that's where the problem is. I think from 3 to 5, you're entitled to free daycare for 15 hours or 30 hours. I see 15 and 30. I need to confirm that and put it on the screen. So you have 15 hours. Let's work with 15 hours. Some schools will give you the option of picking 3 days and you have five hours for those days. And some other schools will give you option of taking three hours for the 5 days. So it's up to you. Now, if your child is below three, then I'm sorry, I can't help you there because that's where you need to really pay for daycare. Daycare is not free here, you have to pay for it. So, if your child falls within that, and when it has to do with work, you and your spouse will have to work around it. If your husband is working day, you might have to work night or just find a way to work around it. Even for we that have kids that are in primary school, we work around picking up the kids. And offices here and companies here understand that there's a thing called childcare and there's a challenge. So your work can start early, maybe someone will drop them early, and then your work will end before the children close so you can pick them up whilst the other person works full. Maybe doesn't start as early, drops the kid and close. Just find a way around it. Now that we've addressed the age, the next thing is the way they take children in school. So the first criteria is proximity, which is why you need to get an address. If you don't have a house, if you don't have utility bill in your name, it might be a challenge because part of the requirements are utility bill. Most times they ask for council tax, but any utility bill might work. And then the children's birth certificate. If you're looking into getting your children into a Catholic school, then you should have their baptismal card with you because the Catholic schools consider people in their denomination first before extending it to other Christians or people from the other faiths. That is what I have experienced here. So first, for schools around you, you have to look for their Ofsted rating. There's something called Ofsted rating. The Ofsted rating is how you rate a school to see how they are doing in terms of academics, in terms of the environment and safety, in terms of everything. Now, they have different ratings. There's the first one, the top one on the list is called Outstanding Ofsted rating. After outstanding, you have good. After good, you have requires improvements. And then the last one is inadequate. My advice, do not go for inadequate at all. For me, I went for outstanding and good. Good at times, it's okay. It's okay. They are gearing to get to outstanding. But I would even go for inadequate and requires improvement. Like inadequate is a no-go area. So ideally, the plan here is that every child should attend a school that is a walkable distance to a home, like the proximity from school to home should be walkable. That's the original plan. But because of the influx of people into the UK, that doesn't happen anymore. So at times you have to go beyond the schools around your area, which was the mistake we made. When we came, we applied to first we look out for schools with only outstanding rating and schools that are very close to us that are walkable distance. And the kids had to wait for over 2 months, close to 3 months. By the time we realized what was happening and how the system worked, the term was always almost coming to an end. So afterwards, we went on the long-term vacation, but then we understood the whole system. So as soon as school resumed, we took our utility bill, we took the children's birth certificate, and we started applying to every school around, even the ones beyond our walking distance. Now, depending on your council, some councils will ask you to go to the schools and apply to as many schools as you like. Some other councils will tell you to send them an email and give them like 3 schools of your choice, in their order of preference. Now they'll go to those schools and look for space and put your children. But if there are no spaces there, the council will look for a school within your council and put your children. It might be further, but they will do that because it's actually their responsibility to find a school for your kids. Even with us that they ask to go to schools to apply, when we submit these forms to the school and after like a week or two, there is no space for the kids because they usually put them on waiting list. The school will send the form back to the council, and then the council will start looking for spaces around the council, even if it's further. So this was what we did. I think we eventually applied to over 15 schools, if I'm correct, and still going for schools that are Ofsted rating, and the Ofsted rating is outstanding and good. We didn't go beyond that. And trick again that worked for us was for the new session, we now started taking the kids along because before then, I would either go and submit or my husband would go. We're not going with the kids. But we noticed that when we go with the kids, they pay more attention because we tell them, look, these kids have been sad, they've been at home watching their mates go to school and they're really sad. I know the teachers will be like, oh, poor thing, what do we do? Okay, you know what? Let's put them on the waiting list. They will just start making calls, So that thing had some kind of psychological effect and it worked. Another thing I know they consider is having a sibling in the school. So if you have a sibling in the school, it gives the other child a higher chance. So number one is proximity to school. Number two is having a sibling in school. And then if you are a Catholic, maybe if you're in a Catholic school, then they will consider your denomination if you have like a baptismal card. So these are the things I noticed that they use. And then of course, you can't go and apply in another council when you're living in a different council because their responsibility is to attend to the people living in their council first before they extend it. So these were the things we were doing. We started going to the schools, and for some reasons, only my daughter kept getting space in school. Now, we couldn't put my daughter in school because there's something about schools here. Unlike back home, when even though school opens at 8, you can drop your child off at 7. It is not like that here. Most schools here just have 15 minutes window to drop off or pick up your child. So if school resumes at 9, you have between 8:45 and 9 to drop off your child. A minute past 9, you might be in trouble. If school closes at 3:15, you have between 3:15 and 3:30 pick up your child. At 3:31, you might be in trouble. You're looking for child services to come and knock on your door, and you do not want that. Now, because they were giving my daughter only space in school, we didn't want to accept it because we didn't know where they were going to put my son. What if they put them in places that are like north and east, far away? It would be a challenge because after dropping one, it would be a problem going to the next school. What if they're not close? So we couldn't take that chance because we don't want child services issues. So we kept rejecting it. But after a long time of trying and we couldn't wait anymore, we said, you know what, let someone even get into school. So there was a school that called us because we took our kids there. So they said there was a space for my daughter as usual. So they said it's better we let her in because it will give my son a better chance, knowing that when you have a sibling in school, you have a better chance of getting in. So we said, okay, Half bread is better than none. So we took it. Now, this school has an Ofsted rating of good, which wasn't bad. Meanwhile, in the quest of our application, we applied to a lot of schools that the offset rating was very high and the competition to get into that school was really tough. And we just applied for applying sake, like to fulfill our righteousness, because we didn't think we were going to get into any of those schools. But there was one that we really, really liked. Anyway, we got out of this school that they gave my child, my daughter, they gave us a prospectus and told us to go and get uniform for her to resume school the next day. As we stepped out of the school, I got a call on my phone. And then the lady at the other end of the phone said, asked, hello, is this Mrs. Bamidele? By Mrs. Bamidele, they meant Mrs. Bamidele. I'm like, yes, this is Mrs. Bamidele. And they were like, oh, they're from so and so school. Are your kids still looking for admission? Because we have spaces for both of them. I'm like, what? For this school that is highly rated, Ofsted, outstanding? I said for both of them, they said yes. I'm like, oh my goodness, Otumbu, your teacher. Oh my. So I grabbed them, like, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus. And she was laughing. I'm like, ma'am, you don't understand what we've been through. Like, it's been one hell of a ride, but oh my goodness, we are coming right away. So we went right away. We got the prospectus, got their uniform, and they resumed school. The kids too were too excited. They couldn't even wait to go to school, to start school. It was fun. Honestly, it was a blessing. So that was how we got to school. So guys, some other things you should consider is if where your child's school is, it requires you taking transportation, you should think of getting what they call a Swift card. I didn't discover this on time, but I'm glad I discovered it eventually because we had to take one bus. It's not like it's far because you have to drive it like 5 minutes, but we don't have a car yet. We're working on that. But now we take a bus, and it was more expensive buying group saver tickets because it's more expensive. But for kids, they have discounted cards, so get a Swift card. I stay in West Midland, and there's one they call an Xbox. I don't know, depending on where you stay, find out because children always have and students always have discounted cards, so you don't spend a lot on transportation. That's what we'll be using now until we get our car. Yeah. Then finally, guys, you know where we are coming from. Our culture is different from the culture here, so you should have a one-on-one talk with your kids to prepare them for what they're about to encounter here because their style of teaching and everything here is different. I might have to do a different video of that because we had that talk with our kids and it really helped because lifestyle here is different. The way things are different, the way they're teaching and the kind of things they teach, if you know what I mean. So you need to prepare your children mentally for what they're about to encounter. And it will all work out well because it's working out well for my kids. My kids are doing exceptionally well. Yeah, that's basically it. If there's any other thing you think if you can advise for people that are looking for schools or struggling with getting admission for their kids, please feel free to put in the comment section below. These are my own experience, the things I experienced and how it worked out for us. And if you're still looking for school, I wish you all the best. I hope this video has helped one or two people. Please like, share, comment. I want to hear what you think. Share because it might just be helping one person or two to, scale through this hurdle. Everything here is a hurdle. Once you scale through it, then you go to the next one. But so far, so good. It's been really nice, and I really like their school, and the kids are having fun. I can't wait for you to, share your experience and let's know how it went for you. Until I come your way next time, it's Obelicious. Bye.